Hey guys, Sabri Suby here, and in this video, I'm going to be talking about writing and setting goals for the year ahead. So, it's 2020 is upon us, start of a new year and start of a new decade, and typically over that holiday time, people are reflecting, they're thinking about the year that's just passed, and thinking about, the year ahead. What I want to do today is just run you through a little bit about my process and kind of when I'm thinking about my goals and the things that I want to strive to attain and to become and do over the next 12 months is how I look at it. And the way that I do it and the way that I've always done it, because I just find it's really, really effective, is by backing into your goals. And what that means is to first of all think of just the big audacious goals that you want to set for yourself. And people talk about setting realistic goals and all of that kind of stuff. Like for me, realistic goals just don't get me excited. So I don't want to just be thinking about what is something that with a really high probability that I could go out and hit just to make myself feel good because I would have hit my goals. That's not the way that I roll, right? I think of just this huge big goal, this dramatic quantum difference, holy shit, it just sets me on fire and I get really excited to go out and get after it. And then once I think about that, then I start thinking about the raw materials and the inputs that I'm going to need to do in order to get that outcome of where I'm trying to go. So, you want to start with that big picture, and then you want to work backwards and find out what exactly are you going to have to do in order to make that goal a reality. And it starts by looking at all the different activities and all the different inputs that would need to go in over a 12-month period, over that goal, because that's typically how people think about it at the start of the year. And think, okay, I would need to get this many clients. I would need to work out this much. I would need to do all of these different things. And then start to break them down into, okay, well, that's what I would need to do over the course of the year. What would I need to do over the course of the quarter? Right? Then break it down to the month. Okay, this is what that's going to look like in the month. Then break it down to the week, and then break it down to the day, and then break it down to the hour, right? And that's the big thing that's missing. A lot of people think about goals even 12 months and then maybe even quarterly and monthly. Very rare few people break it down to weekly and then daily. And I've never seen anybody that typically breaks it down to the hour, right? And that's because you're really architecting a system that's going to allow you to be able to get the highest probability of reaching that goal. And it's not something like if you just write that goal down, but you don't actually look at what are the daily and the hourly actions that's required in order to hit that, what are the raw materials in order to make that goal a reality, then you're just really flying blind and you don't really have a clear roadmap of exactly the amount of work that's going to be required in order for you to hit that goal. And you're just leaving it to chance and whatever fate just falls in your lap and whatever happens, right? You can never course correct if you don't have those raw materials. So what I mean by that is just say that it's a revenue goal, right? We're in business, we're going to be talking about revenue. It's the typical scoreboard that you're looking at in business, right? And you want to take that revenue goal, break it down to the quarter, break it down to the month, break it down to the week, and then break it down to the day. Then you want to have a look at, okay, in order for me to be able to hit that revenue goal, how much leads am I going to need to get, right? And you can do this by just looking at last year's numbers and looking at the total revenue you did, divide it by the number of leads that you got, right? And that will give you what your average earnings per lead is for your business. Then, or you might be an e-commerce site and then you'll be like, how much traffic do I need to get? So if we're looking at the lead gen side of things, then we're going to be looking at, okay, in order for me to get X amount of leads, how much traffic do I need to get? And at what conversion rate do I need to be able to convert that traffic to hit that lead number, right? And then from that, you want to work it down again and you want to look at those quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, and then you can start to put together a plan. As you're assessing yourself, throughout the year, you might be looking at it weekly, monthly, quarterly. As a bare minimum, you need to look at it monthly and quarterly. Then you can go, am I on track? right? Am I on track in order to do this? And that's just one variable, right? Like how many leads do you need to get and how much traffic that you need to get. You might have an existing bunch of clients that you're servicing, and what other value could I provide to these clients to monetize that value even more that then helps me realize my revenue goal. Because even what I've found over the last 12 months is like that big picture number and goal always remains constant, but it's very rarely that things go according to plan and that you hit all of those metrics that's going to allow you to realize that goal. And what typically happens as you're manifesting this goal and you're taking violent action towards it every single day, that you might not get that amount of traffic, you might not close that amount of leads, but you may increase your customer lifetime value, or you might be able to get way more traffic and way more leads. Like there's always different dials that you can move that allow you to hit that goal. And maybe those dials don't get turned up to the exact volume that you plan, but you'll find that if you do have a really good goal, that you can move other dials throughout the year that will still enable you to hit that goal, even if you don't hit those individual metrics along the way. And this is why it's just so important to have a really clearly articulated and written down and disciplined goal that you do every single day. Because then once you've done that, right, and you've kind of looked at your year, you've looked at your quarter, you've looked at your weeks, and you've looked at what that daily action plan looks like, either you're working 6 days a week or 5 days a week or 7 days a week, whatever it happens to be for you in your life, then you want to look at every single hour. You want to break it down into like half an hour increments and have a look at like, what is it that you're doing every day? What time do you go to bed? What time do you wake up? When do you exercise? What does it look like? Like, what does that activity need to be for you in order for you to hit that daily goal, in order for you to hit that weekly goal and become extremely regimented and disciplined? Because as we start this next year, and we're in January now, as you're looking over the next quarter, one thing that I always like to do in the first quarter of the year is just really stretch my work ethic muscle. Like, my plan for the next 90 days is just to work like a dog, right? And like, I'm going to be increasing my work. I'm going to be increasing my workload. I'm going to be increasing my discipline. I'm going to, really look at stepping into the shoes of like the new Sabri for 2020, of the person that I'm going to need to become in order to hit this year's goals, because I can't remain the same person as I was last year and just expect to dramatically be able to go out there and attain all these new things and to reach these new levels of success if I was just the Sabri of 2019. Otherwise, I would have just hit all those goals, right? So I'm going to need to become someone completely different in order to be able to really make those goals a reality. And that's going to require sacrifices. It's going to require me to be more disciplined, to me to have a different schedule, and for me to really do things different every single day and every single week and every single month and every single quarter in order for me to be able to go out there and really reach those new heights that I want to get to. I'm not going to fool myself in thinking that I can just come back, it's January, slip into the way that I was doing things last year and just have a completely different outcome. It's complete lunacy, yet that's how so many people conduct themselves, because they don't have a cold, hard reality check with what's going on. So, my tip for you in the year ahead is to think about those big pictures and then break them down to the quarter, month, week, and day. But then in the next quarter is where you're going to be setting the tempo for this whole year, right? You might be thinking, I'm just going to come back halfway through January, just take it easy, start the month off slow. It's January, let's just go on cruise control for a bit. Let's just extend those holidays out. Let me just finish work a bit earlier. That is just like you're putting yourself into this downward spiral where you're not going to set yourself up for success. You want to be coming out with the opposite approach. You want to be ferocious. You want to be hungry. You want to be thinking about growth and expansion and going out and really doing more and getting more for yourself, right? And the way that you're going to do that is you're going to be having that strongly linked with your work ethic. So you want to increase the amount of hours that you work in January and in February and in March for the first quarter of the year. And you want to be extremely disciplined so that when you review your goals, at the end of January, at the end of February, and March, at the end of the quarter, that you're looking at the level of activity that you did being at 110, 120%, and then taking stock of where you are compared to the benchmark of where you need to be, right? And it might be, you might be hit it right on the nose. You might be a little bit over. You might be, been taking extra action. You're actually ahead on your goals. That's fine, because there's always things that's going to pop up throughout the year that are going to be outside of your control, that's going to pull your focus away from the things that you need to be doing in order to hit your goal. So you want to start the year off right. You want to flex that work ethic as hard as you possibly can. And you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up in a very, very good position for 2020 to go out there and to get everything that it is that you want to get and achieve all the results and all the success and really manifest this better version of yourself and these goals that you want to go out there and get, and making sure that you are really positioned to go out there and get them. So that's my tips for really planning the year ahead, is really getting granular, looking at your life as a system, looking at the inputs, the processes, and the outputs. Don't just look at the outputs without the other things, because you're just going to be setting yourself up for failure. So I urge you to go ahead and do that now. Really take the time. It might be 10 days, it might be 2 weeks, it might be a week, whatever it is for you, but really spend the time in getting clear on what your goals are, how you're going to achieve them, and then map it all out in your calendar down to the day, down to the hour of exactly what it's going to take for you to go out there and get it done. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure that you click the like button and subscribe. We're dropping a video on YouTube every other day. And if you've got any questions about any of the content that I covered in this video, just basically leave a comment with hashtag #HeySabri in the comment section. And every week we're also trying to go through all those questions and get them answered. So go ahead, click subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.